Most people think the only way to beat credit card interest is math or huge payments. But there are hacks, and I'm going to give you 3 today that help you to do this without breaking the bank, because the intuitive way that most Americans think about it, which is not wrong, it's just the intuitive way that we naturally think, is that if in some sort of way be able to control our interest, then our credit card problem will be solved. The problem is interest is the independent variable here. It is the fixed number. However, we can do things in different programs or get in contact with our credit card companies and try to reduce this interest number, of course. However, the problem actually lies in the dependent variable, which is the principal, which is your actual consumer credit card debt. So this number that you actually have as your credit card balance on your account that you're paying towards is your principal. And if you can actually just lower this balance, your interest will also lower. It doesn't matter if your interest is 25% or if it's 2%. As long as your principal is a small enough number, it doesn't matter how big your interest is. You're not going to have a lot of interest. If you have a $1 credit card balance, it doesn't matter if you have a 20,000% interest rate, 20% interest rate, 1% interest rate, 15% interest rate. It doesn't matter because your balance and your principal is so low. So counterintuitively, we try to put all of our effort onto lowering our credit card interest, and we do all these hacks and these different things and getting in contact with our credit card companies. But if we counterintuitively just worry about the principal, it doesn't matter what our interest is. That's why the people who are debt-free, which I tell you the 4 debt-free habits in the continuous money system, which you can grab for free in my description. This is why I make this, because these are the things that people that have no debt do. The very counterintuitive things that really don't make sense when you say them, but they mathematically play out way better than how we normally operate with our debt. So make sure to grab this and read it. It is free and you can just grab it. You can either just download it or print it. I like to have both versions. I have it on my iPad and then I also have it in the physical printed version. However, if you just focus on the principal amount that you have due and you lower that, it doesn't matter what your interest is. So let's go ahead over to the iPad and I'm going to show you the 3 habits that are the counterintuitive mindset between how most people think about it, which is taking care of their interest, versus the actual problem, which is just lowering your principal. So the interest doesn't matter in the first place. So the first hack that you're going to do is you're going to round up your payments. Now, this is something most people don't think about because they think, well, it's just an extra $1. It's just an extra 30 cents. Let's say you're going to make a payment of, let's say your credit card minimum is $25.25. And you decide, I'm going to actually round up my payments. So that means you're paying $26. And you would say the difference between these two is only 75 cents. So to you, what is 75 cents? Let me just pay my $25.25, right? That is what we will intuitively say because yes, it's only 75 cents. But in the game of interest, in the game of credit cards, in the game of mathematics, it matters. Every single cent matters. So when you round up your payments, you get in the habit of paying more over time. Now, you can do this with any payment, by the way, but with your credit card payments, you especially want to be doing it because credit cards are charged and are accruing a daily interest. It just so happens that at the very end of the month, you see one, or at the beginning of the month, you see one big payment of XYZ dollars. And so you think, oh, this is just my payment. Let me pay my statement balance and move on. However, you're actually paying each day's accruement of interest. So if you can pay your credit card balance down throughout the entire month, you're actually going to pay less interest. And if you're combining that with the habit of rounding up every single payment, every time you pay on your card throughout the month, you're slicing your debt faster than anybody can even start to accrue it again, which is how you stay out of debt, which is what I deeply talk about in the continuous money system. And you want to make sure to grab that and print it. If you are a person that needs it in the physical sense, make sure to print it. And on the first page, it actually has a self-assessment guide of which habit you need to be doing first. So you might get it and say, oh, there's 4 habits that attack every angle of debt. Cool. Well, which one should I do? Well, this tells you exactly what scenario, what statement fits you best, and which habit you should go directly do. And so you're going to combine that with your roundup on your payments, because it does matter. Just like how every single day you're accruing interest, and paying small amounts throughout the entire month reduces your overall interest over the year, can save you hundreds of dollars. That is why we round up our payments, because even though it's a few cents, if we're paying an extra 75 cents on every single payment, and we're only paying a full dollar amount, we're never paying cents, we're just always rounding up, well, we're always paying more towards our principal. So this is just a way to pay more on your principal over time. It doesn't really technically matter the roundup, where you can round it up $5, round it up $10. Every time you pay, add $1. That could be it too. But the point is, you always want to be paying more on your payments towards your principal. The next thing is extra cash windfalls. So the reason why I added this, even though everyone can say, oh, well, every time I get money, I add something to my credit card debt. The problem is, most people, when they get extra money in their income, it goes to comfort. So you will say, well, I need some new shoes and I just got $75. So now your $75 is standing in between your new shoes and your debt. And your 75 bucks has 2 choices. Either it's going to go to your new shoes, or it's going to go to your debt. Because you're in the process of getting rid of debt, and you feel like naturally, intuitively, as humans, we want comfort. And so if the shoes you currently have aren't bringing you comfort, or they're torn, or they're worn, or they're just not your favorite, when you get extra cash and it's windfalling into your income, you feel like, well, what is the point of just adding it to my debt when I need new shoes? What I'm telling you again is that by putting extra money towards every single payment, you're doing more work than you actually think, because compound interest is daily working against you. And when you add extra cash to your credit card, it's actively working in your favor. That's all it is. So what's happening is that you have phenomenon that's always happening, compounding. So either it's going to work in your favor, or it's going to work in someone else's favor. So either way, that debt is going to be sitting there. Do you want it to work in your favor, or do you want to have it work in somebody else's favor? Personally, I want to take this route because I want it to work in my favor. And then guess what? When I get rid of my debt, then I can spend whatever I want to spend on whatever I would want to. And the best part is, I'm not saying don't buy it. I'm just saying maybe not right now. Or maybe instead of buying the $75 shoes, you buy a $50 pair and you send that extra money to your credit card debt. All I'm saying is, here the point is to be mindful of how much these little payments and these little pieces of money come in, and what you're doing with it. Are you using it to strictly pushing it towards comfort, towards something that you're going to wear and tear on anyways, like you just did the other pair? Or do you want to put it towards something that's actively accruing debt and accruing interest against you? And the final thing is gamifying your debt. This is why I created the Debt Accelerator interactive guide, because it gamified the whole system without math. Oh my gosh. The traditional way of doing your debt is to pull out the calculators and pull out the interest calculators and calculate your debt and calculate the interest and calculate all the things. And none of it ever brought me closer to getting progress with my debt. So when I started to see progress, I actually wrote this in my notebook. And before I created it digitally, I wrote it in my notebook and I started to do it. And then when I fell off, I would come back to the notebook and I was like, dang, this is kind of easy. I'm literally motivating my own self and this is very easy. So what did I do? I created it into a guide. I added some instructions and then I was able to share it with other people. So when you get the continuous money guide, or the continuous money system, it actually comes with the interactive guide with it as the same download. So you'll get both at the same time. What it does is it gamifies your debt. Now, the reason why you want to gamify it is because of dopamine and serotonin. Or serotonin. So these happy chemicals and hormones that fire off in our bodies and in our brains is the same reason why we have debt. So when you go spend money at the store, you turn into Johnny right here. This is Johnny, and Johnny got his tongue stuck out and he's happy. You know why? Because Johnny just bought his new pair of shoes, and so he's happy. Let's give him some teeth. All right? Johnny's ecstatic. What we can do is we can say, you know what, we're gonna give him the same type of energy and happiness, but in a way that actually will help him. So we're gonna give him this interactive guide and we're gonna gamify his debt. So as he's doing the payment tracker, which is here, this is the physical version that I printed out, and I also have the digital version on my iPad. And he's also doing the balance milestone checklist. And he's doing this every single day, gamifying this whole process. He's now turned his desire to buy more shoes of something that's going to deplete anyways in the next few months, when he can just use it towards getting rid of his debt. So he's bought these new shoes, these new Nikes, which is fine. But what's better is now he's taking that same energy and he's now gamifying his debt and finding the same happy hormone, but in something that will help him. So he found it in shoes, buying more shoes, which is not technically helping him, but he's going to find it in gamifying his debt through the payment tracker, because it is a sense of motivation. It moves you towards your goals. It gets rid of that debt. It proves that you know what you're doing. It proves you're not bad with money. It's intuitively buying the shoes is the thing that would make you happy. But when you are doing the payment tracker and you're moving towards a goal and you're paying for your freedom every single day, you're paying every single day towards your freedom. It is a freedom that you can explain. It is an energy that cannot be explained. So when we basically exchange what is bringing him happiness. So at first it's these shoes, and then we say, hey, here's the interactive guide. You can do this, and this is going to give you that same energy. And honestly, you don't even have to say it. You can just say, oh, I want you to start doing this. And then he's going to be like, dang, I don't even want to buy those shoes no more. I'm so ecstatic and happy and ready and motivated to take care of this debt. And so the same happiness he's looking for in those shoes is going to be found through the payment tracker, which is why we gamify our debt. It's not necessarily like a game. I don't really like complicated stuff where it's like, oh, you get this amount of points if you do this thing, and you got to check in every single day, and you got to make it consistent, because then that takes the fun out of it. It takes the consistency out of it. It takes the life out of it, because I have personally, as I was using this in my book, in my own notebook, I would go and have a life for 3 months, or not 3 months, 3 weeks. And I'd come back and I'd be like, normally with the typical debt payoff system that I've learned, it's actually very difficult to feel motivated. But this is so different. And so when I was able to use this, that's why I figured out this. But I didn't want to make it in a way that was hard, and I had to stay consistent, and I had to count up points, and I had to do all this math, and I had to achieve all these the only achievement for this, the only achievement is getting rid of your debt. There is no other achievement. Is the achievement. Hello, this is the achievement. So we don't want to make the achievement until, oh, you get these stickers and we're going to add all these points and you get 5 stars if you do this, and you do like that. Already is too much added to my plate. I want it to be such a simple system that I can use this just like this. And if I wanted to forget about it for 2 weeks, I could do that, and I could pick it back up and start back. And my reward is that my debt has not grown. This plus this equals your debt not growing and it constantly going away, period. And that's why I love this system that I've been able to create. You actually don't need huge payments or perfect math to fight interest. We've already gone through 3 different ways that are normally not shared as ways to get rid of debt, but they absolutely do get rid of your payments. So if you want to get any of these tools, again, they are free in my description that I created. So the continuous money system is here. This is the physical version. And then this is what it looks like digitally, right? These are all in the same download. So you download the continuous money system and you'll get the milestone checklist and the payment tracker as well. And to be able to know how to use them, I have YouTube videos up in this playlist that teach you exactly how to use them and how it's gamifying it and giving you so much joy and motivation, but it's not hard to do. It doesn't include any math, no calculators, no algebra, no interest, none of that. It's just in a really, really easy, amazing process to be able to use it.